here at PCI, Postal Center International, with Laura, and we're hosting the webinar today with our partners, API, Advanced Processing and Imaging. So we're going to start out with just telling you for a couple of seconds a little bit about PCI, then we'll turn it over to API and let them go into a little bit more about how we're going to capture the data, get rid of some of your paper, show you about intelligent document and records management, and just automating your workflow process a little. So PCI, which was founded in 1984, can we go to the next slide, please? There we go. We are Florida's largest pre-sort, digital printing, and direct mail facility. We do have two locations, one location in Fort Lauderdale and one in Orlando. We have a totally secure facility. We have over 100 employees, and we do process almost 2 million pieces annually. And we decided that we felt that a product like this, where we can, save paper and capture data, was a nice addition to our product line. And we did a lot of research, and we decided we are partnering with Advanced Processing Imaging. They're in the Boca area. And they're going to tell you, some more about their product. And I'm going to turn it over now to Lori and Donna from API, and we'll get right into the meat of the program.
Thank you so much, Roy. All right, well, welcome again, everybody. We really appreciate you being with us today, and we hope to make this very informative. And we're going to accept some questions at the end of the presentation and demo today. So if you do have any questions, feel free to go ahead and submit them through the GoToWebinar panel, or you can just hold them to the end and we'll open it up for some Q&A as time allows. So with that, let me go ahead, and I've got just a few slides that I want to kind of introduce you to who API is and talk a little bit about what we're going to be showing you today. And then we're going to jump into the demo, which is always the fun part. So Donna will be presenting the demo today, and I'm just going to drive you through some of the slides. So what we're going to cover is just kind of a high-level overview of who API is. We're not going to spend a lot of time there. Why are you interested in even participating in this demo today, and what's in it for you, and how we might be able to assist your organization, as well as the difference between API and how we are doing work today versus how we can be doing work in the future. We're going to go through the demo and then just some next steps. So as an intro to who we are, again, our name is Advanced Processing and Imaging. We are a Florida-based organization. We have been around since 1996, helping organizations like you get rid of all the paper that fills those bankers' boxes and filing cabinets and automate processes to minimize the amount of work that people are doing in the shuffling, collaboration, approving of paperwork as it goes through manual processes today. And this is the heart of our organization. So this is our bread and butter, and what we have spent many years developing these tools so that we have cutting-edge, leading technology for your organization to optimize and maximize the people you have today, the resources, and also, of course, saving you time and money. Our culture here at API is all based on a book called The Raving Fans, and I won't spend too much time here, but ultimately, we have adapted this as a mantra, and the reason we like to share this with our folks is that it's really important that we listen to our customers, and we take suggestions and ideas to heart, and this is what helps in creating our product roadmap for new solutions and enhanced products that will meet your needs today and in the future as well. So every one of our customers is a top priority to us, and any one of our customers would be more than happy to tell you why they partnered with us and the value they get out of being a partner with API. So some of the focus around API is we do a lot of work with cities and counties and municipalities across the United States, but also globally. We've got Canada, the Caribbean, and we've got a couple of global customers. In addition to cities and counties, we also do a lot of work in the education space. So you'll see some higher education, a lot of K through 12, and then also in the private sector, we've got numerous organizations from varying verticals, whether it's healthcare, it's performing arts centers. We pretty much can go across any of these verticals with our solutions because they fit into any kind of finance department, HR department, records department, and you're going to see a little bit more about this as we go through the presentation today. This screen I like to show because this is our bread and butter, the way we integrate into line of business applications. And hopefully you're going to see as the screen is scrolling something that you're using in your organization. If not, the good news is in the 17 years we've been doing this, we have not run into a single line of business application that we can't integrate to. And Donna's going to show you through the demo what that integration really means to you and how it will alleviate the need of having to manually search for information. I mean, picture in a perfect world, you're working in your application and the information gets presented to you instead of you having to go look for information. And that's what we're going to show you today. So the product that API offers is, as you can see in the center, OptiView, which is one that we're going to focus on today. This is our complete end-to-end document content management solution. And the top right here in workflow is the second solution that we're going to focus on in teaching you how you can do the work that you have to do today with less resources, less money, less time, and that's through our business process automation tool, OptiWorkflow. And then we've got a few others that in the future, if you're interested in, we'd be more than happy to set up a more personalized demo for you, and we can go through our spool file management product, as well as if you deal with any kind of billing, utility billing, or want to be able to publish information through a website, whether it's for public records or it could be through a secured portal. So today, hopefully this isn't what you look like, running around your office, shuffling paper for people to review. So the process today is, it's very paper intensive. People are making copies. They're trying to track emails, constantly looking for files that get misfiled. It's very easy for things to get put into the wrong file and the wrong folder, and sometimes that could be very costly if you're storing this information off-site and you have to retrieve it. But this can be anything from invoices to employee records, student records, any kind of paper, electronic files that you need to do your job with. We can help you in automating and storing in a secured repository that gives you instant access. This paper also takes up an enormous amount of space, so whether you're storing it on-site or off-site, think about all the space that you could be using for better utilization if you didn't have to have filing cabinets filling it. So with API solutions, we completely automate the process, so there's no more getting up, there's no more shuffling papers around. Everything is put into a digital format that you can get an email notification. Let's say you're part of a review process that lets you know there's something for you to review. And you just click on that email and it puts you right into our workflow. So again, improving processes, making things happen faster in a more efficient way. It also will standardize procedures. So this way, if you have, let's say somebody has to review a document within a certain amount of time, it will put those procedures in place to make sure that that person is doing what they need to be doing, or somebody will be notified that that person has not met that time frame and can then decide to take whatever action is necessary. It's great for any kind of tracking and reporting, gives you complete visibility to where information is at all times. It also helps with collaboration. It helps people to share information, making them more accountable. And of course, everything is tied to compliance, retention. If that document needs to be kept for 7 years, when it's met its cycle, you will be notified that that document has met its life cycle and is now time for destruction. And whether or not your organization at that time feels that it's necessary to do that, or if for some reason, let's say regulations have changed, you can go ahead and extend the life cycle of that document. So again, it makes managing workflows much easier and also gives you back, saves time, and of course saving you money ultimately. These are just some examples of where our solutions can help. Honestly, anywhere there's paper, anywhere people are shuffling paper around in your organization is where you can use these types of solutions to save time, save money, and be more efficient. So with that, I'm going to now go ahead and turn it over to Donna, who's going to take us through the demo today. And I have transferred it over to you. So Donna, the controls are yours.
Thank you, Lori. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you two of the products that Lori spoke about. The first one that I'm going to show you is our Opti Workflow. Our Opti Workflow is a web-based application. And as Lori said, basically it allows us to create forms and processes behind those forms. So for instance, a couple of the things that I'm going to show you today is here is a form. Here's a payment request form that we've created. You select your vendor name and it can automatically pull from a database and fill out the rest of the information, and I'll show you how that works. The other one here that I have opened is is my pre-travel request. So being able to ask for time off, or maybe for a conference or a training or something like that. And again, I'm gonna get into this form as well, but I want to show you that we do create forms and then we create processes behind that form. Where does it need to start? Who needs to fill it out? Who does it need to go to? The manager, maybe, after the employee fills it out. This would be like a pre-travel request process. The employee fills it out, it goes to the manager. The little triangle here says, okay, did the manager approve it? If he approves it, it's going to go on to the CFO and then ultimately drop into a category into our enterprise content management software. If he didn't approve it, it can be routed back to the employee. We have many different things that we can do here. We can escalate items, we can send emails, we can send notifications, a lot of different things. We can even send the form itself on to people. So that said, let me just show you how a process would happen. I'm going to be working with a payment request form to begin with. So in a finance area, we have the ability, invoices come in, a central person receives all the invoices, and they need to send these invoices out and verify that the different departments received the goods and request for the other information, maybe the receiving documents that need to be stored along with the invoice. So in this case, I'm just going to, I have a drop down here that I'm reading from a database. It's just a short list of vendor names. I'm going to just select AC Supply, and as soon as I click outside or tab outside, you're going to notice that these other fields are going to populate. It is literally pulling the information from a database. From there, I can select a PO that I want to pay. Let me just pick 1200. It tells me what department it's going to go to, my IT department, and then I can enter the invoice number that came in. There it is. Again, it can populate additional information about that invoice or about that PO. We can have so from here, again, if the procurement person is filling that out, one of the other things, this is our Opti Workflow form, just to remind you, and this is our OptiView ECM application. Our OptiView ECM application links directly to the form. So if you will, right now I have it asking for the vendor number right here, and I have it asking for the invoice number. So when I entered that information into my form, OptiView automatically indexed itself, and it's now waiting for documents to be stored. So as a procurement person, what I can do is I can actually go scan that let me just do that. So I have the invoice and I need to scan it and put it into my invoice category here. All I have to do is simply press my scan button. I do have an attached scanner on my workstation. I simply press Scan New Document. It's going to scan my invoice for me, give me a preview of it, And all I have to do is simply tell it what category over here to put it in, and press save. And now I'm just saved my invoice associated with this form that I want to pass on to IT. I also have the ability to store documents. For instance, here's a PO. Maybe I have that electronically somewhere. So here's my AC Supply folder, for instance, and here is, well, where I guess I might not there's my purchase order. So here's my purchase order. All I have to do is take that purchase order and drag it right onto purchase orders, and now that's going to store the document. We also give you the ability to delete the original behind you so that you can make sure that the documents in OptiView are your most recent and the only copy that you have. I can just say OK. And if you notice, that is a Word document. I can store any type of document I want in OptiView. We will accept any type of document, audio, video, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, whatever you want can be stored in OptiView. So now, at this point, the procurement person has done what they needed to do. Now they need to send it off to the department so that the department can verify that they received the science supplies, that the amount was correct, and make sure that they balance their AP form. At this point, all the procurement person would have to do is simply submit. And if you recall that the process that I showed you a little while ago, here's where the procurement person would be, and then it would go on to the IT department. So it just literally is going to go on to the next person in line. I can add additional notes if I want to outside of the form. If I don't want to, I can just simply press send. It's now going to go on to the IT person, and they will get a notification, an email notification, letting them know that there's something for them to work on. They also have the ability, if they want, they can come to their Opti workflow inbox once a day or once every couple of days and see what needs to be looked at. Here's my form. I can just pop that up. It's going to have all that information already in there. As the department that receives this, I have to come in here and specify whether I received these. Yes, I did. And I like making people enter information just so that they don't just click, click, click and say that it's done. And I guess I'm sorry. This should have calculated, so I apologize. I guess I have a calculation error there, but that's easy to fix. And then as the department, the other thing the department has to do is they need to come in here and add the delivery receipts and the packing slips. So I simply can drag and drop or use a scanner and bring those documents in. So here's a packing slip. I'm sorry, that went into the wrong category, but I can quickly even move that simply by opening that, and it's going to actually open the Excel spreadsheet for me. Here it is. And once I do that, so there's the Excel spreadsheet, but I stored it under delivery receipt instead of packing slips. All I have to do is press this little button here, and I can just say that I want to cut that. I want to put it under packing slips, and I hit paste, and now it's stored. It's now, I have 2 documents under packing slips and none under delivery receipts. So it's very easy to do different things in OptiView, whether you're moving documents from one place to another or bringing them into OptiView. As the department, I sign off. I have received the goods. I can add additional comments, and I can simply hit submit. Before I do that, I do want to go back, or actually, let's go ahead and do that. I can add additional notes if I want to, and just hit submit. The other thing that I can do in Opti Workflow, I can come to my Sent folder. So in my Sent folder, if I'm the originator or even anyone in the process itself, I actually have something called a progress map. That progress map will tell me exactly where it is in my process and whose desk it's sitting on. So as Lori said, you are able to track that form. Right here, you're going to notice the gray items, it's already been through the gray items. Right now, it's sitting on the AP clerk's desk. So let me just minimize OptiView and show you in a Visio look and feel. It went to procurement. It went to the buyer submitted it, they didn't reject it, so now it's sitting on the AP clerk's desk and they can then move it forward or even send it back to the department if the department didn't put all of their supporting documents in OptiView. So it makes it very easy and foolproof for getting forms and or processes automated through your environment. Okay, so basically that the payment review process, I think you got the idea there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here and I want to show you one other process before I show you a little bit more about OptiView. The other process that I want to show you is under human resources. Human resources, I have a pre-travel request process. So before I take travel, before I go to a conference, before I go to a training of any sort, I have to have approval by my boss and my superiors to make sure that there is budget for the training, and I need to fill out this information. Again, I can have the form automatically fill out information about me, so I'm not having to enter information all the time. The purpose for the trip, is it a conference or a training? Maybe it's a conference. Where is it? Maybe it's in San Diego. And we can come through here, and then down in the bottom part is our full travel detail. How are we going to get to San Diego? Well, I'm going to take air travel. One of the other things that I want you to notice is I have some per diems automatically filling out here in my form. And if I also have a radio button to state whether the location is in-state or out-of-state. So if I select out-of-state, you're going to notice that nothing happened. But if I select in-state, the in-state per diems are less than an out-of-state. So when I do that, you're going to notice that this 8 is going to change to a 5, lunch is to $9, and dinner is $12. Again, I can just go to out-of-state and it will change to 8, 11, and 17. So we can do different process rules behind the scenes depending on who selected what on the form. What dates do I want to go to my conference? Maybe I'm going to select next week, and it will start calculating my total full days that I'm going to be gone, and can start calculating again my per diems and my running total. I can also go to lodging here. Maybe my hotel room is going to be $129. It automatically will calculate that for me. Maybe I need a rental car of $32 a day. And then what I can do when I'm done, I can actually come here as the employee and sign this. So I'm logged into the system. It says, I, Donna LaFerrette, certify that everything in here is true and correct to my knowledge, and it does meet the API fiscal travel policy. And I can just hit OK. And now my name and the date and time are going to be displayed here. I also, if you recall, on the last form, what I did was I actually stored documents in OptiView attached to that other form. Well, what if I don't have access to OptiView? We also have the ability to put an attachments button right on the form itself. So I can go to my attachments button. I can browse to anywhere I want on my network to get an electronic document. So here's some samples. Here's an application for travel, and I can just add that right to my form, and now this is going to automatically follow my form through every step, every process, and anybody can go in and take a look at the attachments. So once I'm done filling this out, I can actually go ahead and hit submit. Oh, remember? I said that I was going to take air travel, but I didn't put any air travel dollars in there. So the form is intelligent enough to make the people fill out the forms logically and completely before they pass it on. So maybe the air travel is going to be $450. And again, I have my running total here, and all I have to do is hit go. When I hit go, it's then going to notify the manager and let them know that there's something in their inbox to approve or say that there's no budget. So I just wanted to show you this form in particular also because the form has so many different things associated with it. It has database lookups, it has drop-down fields, it has entry fields, it has radio buttons that require things to be filled out. It has radio buttons that behind the scenes has business rules and determines what my per diems are going to be. Also shows how a date field looks. We do give you a full calendar look and feel, so I can, go to any month and just pick my dates. I don't have to know what my dates are. I can just pick them off the calendar, as well as comment fields and signatures. So it's a really good form to show all the different features and functions of workflow, and allows you to see just exactly some of the different things that I can do behind the scenes on my form and to make the whole system work very fluent and very cleanly again throughout my processes. So Opti Workflow, again, what we do is in Opti Workflow, here's my pre-travel request. How do we do all those different things? So for instance, I have on my airfare, this is my form designer, and on my airfare here, I can double click here and I can say that this entry is required when my travel type is equal to 1. So my travel type, I have a value for air travel of equal to 1, so it's very easy to do. So if somebody selected air travel, then this field is required. It's no harder than that. When I come over here, my calculations, I have something called expressions, and in expressions I simply take my breakfast field times the number of days that I'm going to be gone, and it automatically calculates it for me. So again, I don't want to get too in-depth here, but it's very simple to put those business rules and calculations behind the fields themselves. If I wanted to add a field here, adding fields is as easy as literally taking my field type over here. We have many different field types, from drop-down lists, check boxes, entry fields, radio buttons, text boxes, that signature box. All you have to do is literally drag it out onto your form and tell it what you want it to be. So maybe I want this to be email address. I just simply type in my field name, give it a title. I can tell it where I want that title to be placed, whether I want it to be on maybe the bottom or the left, and if the center. It literally shows me how it's going to look. I can then also come in here to format. What format is it going to be? Is it text or is it numeric? We can do any of the above, as well as I can give it different looks and feels. I like 3D sunken look. That's what all my form fields are today. But some people like the ability to have it just be a flat file, just like you would see in Microsoft Word. So here it is. Here's my email address and with the field above it, and I just created a field for email address. So it makes it's very, very easy to create fields in our form designer, and then our process designer when we have a process behind the scenes, it's the same thing. We give you many different options here. What do you want to do? Do you want somebody to fill out a form? Where do you want that form to go? Maybe to another person? And you draw the lines. I can come in here and I can specify that this is the originator. I have to specify what form I want to select. So once I create a form, I have to publish it, and I can pick that form up. I'm just going to come in here to my different forms, and maybe I want a generic AP form. I can tell it I want the user to be able to see that progress map we talked about, and I hit OK. I just configured this button. And we just continue moving on and on. If I needed, a control, again, here's a branch. What do you want that branch to do? Do you want it to loop, or do you want it to go on to the next person? So it is literally very easy to create the forms and processes behind Opti Workflow. Okay, so that is our Opti Workflow product. I do want to get in just a little bit more in depth about our Opti View, which is our document management ECM product. As you saw, I was able to store documents directly in Opti View. It did automatically link to my form, and here are the documents. So I can open that invoice and I can display it, and I can see it just by clicking on it. The other thing that I want to mention is, oh, I'm sorry, maybe I should have stayed in there, because one of the other things I want to mention, Lori mentioned about our document retention. Inside of this invoice document type, I have set behind the scenes and told it that all invoices are to be stored for 7 years. So I stored it today on 10/17, so 7 years from today would be 10/17/2020. So I don't have to think about putting a document retention date on there, because I'm letting the document type of invoice designate how long or what my retention is on all documents being stored in that document type. As Lori mentioned, after 7 years, this document will roll off into our retention application, and the administrator will have to go ahead and electronically shred it. They also have the ability to put it back into the system for another length of time. So if you needed to, you can go back in here. Even before the retention has been met, I can change the retention date. If I have rights to do that, I can manage the retention information on a document. We also have some other things here where I can, for instance, I have some annotations. Let me move this guy a little bit out of the way here. I'm going to also fit him to size, and I can do some different things. This is just saying, if you want to store your annotations with the document, you need to check it out first, because we have full versioning turned on. I can tell you who did what to what document at any time, and I can see who did what. So I can come in here and I can highlight information. I can redact information. I can add text to this information, to the form itself. And I even have stamps. So I can have an approved stamp, for instance, on this invoice. I can actually stamp it approved. I can create as many stamps as I want. I can have a processed or a received or a rejected. Maybe I go ahead and click processed and put a process stamp there, so they can be different colors as well. And all I have to do in the end is go ahead and save that. It's going to check it back in for me, and then I can come up here and I can show you the history. I stored the document at 216, and at 236 I made some modifications to it. I do have the ability to come back to the first version here, and I can view that version, which is the one without annotations on it. So I just wanted to show you that I can always come back to the original. I can even roll back to the original. But we never modify the original document because that's a compliance nightmare. I also can come up here and hide annotations. So I can, but it always says down here in the bottom right that the image does have annotations. So again, I can come to here and get back to my original document anytime I want. I can, of course, print my documents. Anytime I print, it's going to ask me if I want to print with annotations or not. I can export the documents that I have stored, whether I email them. If I want to email them, I can convert it to PDF. I can take all the documents in this tab just by clicking all documents. I can password protect my PDF as I create it so that people can't print it or can't edit it. And it's just simply going to take all those documents, and if you recall, I did store a Word document in here. So it's going to take that Word document and actually convert it. It's going to open it, print it to PDF, print it right inside this document, the one PDF that we're creating, and then it's going to attach it to my email, and it's going to go ahead and give me an attachment on my email, and here it is, and now I can show you all those pages. So here's that page, purchase order, here's my packing slip, here's my other packing slip that I attached. So you can create it, and not only, we don't keep your documents hostage, we allow you to do whatever you want with them by exporting them to your desktop or emailing them directly. I've already shown you this, how I can take a document and cut and paste and move it from one category to another. But an OptiView is literally that easy. The other thing that I want to show you today is a couple of other cabinets. So for instance, and Lori talked about our integration. You saw that with the form. I do have another application. I have Microsoft Great Plains open right here. And I'm going to go to my, they have something, Microsoft Great Plains has something called a smart list. And what I'm going to do is just, all I want you really to do is watch OptiView over here. Right now I'm in my AP invoice application, but if I come over here to employees, it's going to change to an HR application. And then when I select an employee, it actually automatically indexes it for me, brings up the documents associated with Pilar, and I then can review his resume and or any of the other documents. If there's a little piece of paper here, it actually shows that there are documents in the different tabs. So it follows me through my everyday business, as Lori said. You haven't seen me type an index or do any searching for documents in any way. I do have that ability, but if we can butler those documents up and provide them for you automatically, why not let us? So if I come here to Alton Manufacturing, you notice that I just came to a vendor cabinet. And we have different vendor documents, your contracts, your quotes, your W-9. Each of these cabinets is 100% customizable to you. We do assessments for each department, and we help design the cabinet so that it works for you. I also want to show you if you don't have to have OptiView up on your screen all the time. If I come here to, like, for instance, advanced paper, and then I come back to Alton Manufacturing, one of the things you're going to notice is a little pop-up in the right-hand corner down here, just like an email. It's notifying me that there are 13 documents associated with this customer name and customer number. You can, in order to pop up OptiView, you just click on it and it's going to pop it up. If you're just working with your front-end line of business, then you just ignore it if you're not looking for those documents, attached documents. So again, it makes it very, very easy to find your documents. We're butlering them up, we're bringing them to you, as Lori said, so you're not having to go find them. Also, the other thing that I want to mention is, let me go back here to my employee file. So my employee file, let me go back to Pilar where there was some documents. Right now I have an applicant tab, I have a personnel tab with many document types. I have an I-9, I have some signed company agreements, letters of reprimand. I have a payroll tab. That's because I have full rights to all of these tabs and all of these categories. But what happens if I don't want somebody to have rights to all of these? Behind the scenes, when we design the cabinet, I'm just simply logging out and logging back in. Instead of logging in as myself, I'm going to log in as Juan. And when he comes to see Pilar's record, you're going to notice instead of 13 documents, there's only 5. And there's 2 resumes, certificates. There's no payroll tab up here. And under personnel, he doesn't see the I-9 or the signed company agreements because he's not allowed to. So full security behind the cabinets. Who do you want to see what tabs, what categories inside of what cabinets? We have the ability to do that. Full security behind the scenes. So I'm just going to log back in as myself one more time. And I want to show you, I'll just simply very quickly show you a couple of other cabinets that we have created. So you saw an HR cabinet with certificates and resumes and I-9s and job descriptions. We might also have some student folders. As Lori said, we work a lot with schools, so we have some admission records, enrollment withdrawal forms, legal documents, permission forms, maybe some disciplinary documents, maybe a tab for the nurse. The nurse needs to add notes associated with the student if every time they come to see the nurse to get an aspirin or whatever the reason they're going to the nurse for. So storing documents into any of the tabs, any of the categories. We have a lot of cities where we store ordinances. It could be just as easy as storing just an ordinance. It doesn't have to be a big full-blown cabinet. It can just be something simple. We create grants, storing federal, state and federal grants in OptiView for many school districts. And then also, we already looked at the AP invoices, but AP invoices, what we have the ability to do, one last feature before I turn it over for questions, I can actually come in here. This is my search routine, but I can come in here. We have the ability to automatically link documents. So here I am in my AP invoices application, but if you notice there's a little link here to this invoice. That means in some other cabinet somewhere there is a document that you wanted linked to this cabinet or this invoice and this vendor number. And sure enough, they are in the check documents, in the checks. These checks, this check, I can open it, and if you notice, I'll zoom in here. You'll notice this check paid many different invoices. So with that, with one of our back-end processes, we take the check, we read all the invoices associated with the check, and we link that check to each of those invoices so that auditors can find that information, the check, the invoices, the packing slips, the delivery receipts, all very quickly and easily. So linking can be a lot of fun and add a lot of benefit to documents in OptiView. one more thing, I'm sorry. We also, when we store a document in OptiView, we do put a layer of hidden text on every document, so you can search for any word in anywhere in the system. So I can take off all of these controls. I can literally come here to the application, any application, and since this is my database, I know that I'm going to find my name someplace in here, and you're going to notice I can just come here and I can simply display the page, and here it's going to actually, I can go from page to page, and it's going to drop down and it will literally highlight where it found my name, so, unless it's a stamp, and then it's already highlighted. So it literally finds any word in any document anywhere in the system, which can be very, very helpful. All right, so that is Opti Workflow and OptiView. And so at this point, Lori, I think I'm going to turn it back over to you, and you can review for questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Donna. At this time, I'm going to unmute everyone. If there are any questions that anybody has, please feel free to go ahead and ask a question. At this time, everybody's phone has been unmuted. Are there any questions that we currently have from any of the participants today?
Donna, this is Roy at PCI.
Hi, Roy.
Hi. That was a great presentation. I really appreciate you guys doing that for us. It was really super. As before we wrap up, I just want to say that we do have a list of the participants on the call, and we will be emailing everybody for see if they have any questions or would like to get together for any additional information, because I know that if you would partner with us, we go out and visit people, and we can do some nice one-on-ones. So, are there any questions from anybody? Well, we got the experts on the phone.
Oh, how cute! I'm looking on the screen. Was that a question we had? Okay, Roy, well, it seems like there aren't any questions, so we will personally follow up, as Roy says, with each of you, and we would be more than happy to do a more customized demo or answer any questions that you might have, and we look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very
much. Have a great day.
Take care. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.